Good day, class. So our first lecture for the final term is about depreciation. In this lecture, we'll discuss the definition, the types, the requirements of a depreciation method, and the different depreciation methods. I think we'll be covering around 5 to 6 methods. Sige, let's start with the definition. So what is depreciation? I'm sure you've heard of this word of this term, no? When you say depreciation, it means the decrease in the value of the physical property with the passage of time. So I think almost everything that we own, class, depreciates or decreases in value. So when example, we buy a car, or maybe a device, no, cell phone, iPad, or almost everything that we buy depreciates. So ang opposite na is mag-appreciate siya, meaning it increases in value. So some things that appreciates over time, house and lot, di ba, property, yuta. So that's why if you want to be more, kumbaga, mindful, or you want to earn, if you want to invest wisely, no, sa imong money, then go buy a property because it appreciates over time. Another thing is kanang mga alahas. So I remember my mom nag-purchase siya mga alahas when I was young. And ningon siya daw kay difference karon na pwede na niya maprinda at siguro times 3 times 4 sa amount nga iyang gibayaran atong alas when she first purchased it. So those are some of the few things nga ga-appreciate. And all the other things ga-depreciate yung class. So here's an example of a graph of a normalized car depreciation for 20 years. So say at time 0, when you purchase a car at 100% ng iyahang price. So over time, ga-decrease siya, nag-depreciate siya, no? So pag-abot niya 20 years, close to 0 na gyud iyang value. Okay, so ingana pa siguro ang average age sa car nga kanang dili na nimo mabaligya at kuan around 10%. So kung nipalit ka karon tag 1 million nga car, no, kung abot og 20 years, ay dili na nimo mabaligya siguro 200,000. Or I mean, siguro if you really took care of it, but the idea is over time it really depreciates. Alright, so what is value? Value in a commercial sense is the present worth of all future profits that are to be received through ownership of a particular property. So there are different types of value class discussed in engineering economics. One is the market value of a property. So this is the amount which a willing buyer will pay to a willing seller for the property where each has equal advantage and is under no compulsion to buy or sell. So for example, if I decide to sell my house at 3 million, for example, so that is now the market value of my property or my house and lot. I'm a willing seller, and if there's a willing buyer, then good, diba? Napalit niya at 3 million. So that's the market value. And there's no compulsion, dili oblige ang person to buy my property. Dili sad ko oblige at the same time to sell my property. Ako lang siyang giset at 3 million. Ako lang siyang gi-estimate niya nga na yung value. So that's the market value of a property. Next is the utility or use value of a property. So this is the worth of a property to the owner as an operating unit. So when you see utility or use value, for example, I decide to buy a car, and then we know that ga-depreciate man gyud ang car, no, over time it decreases in value. But say this car ako siyang gigamit as kanang taxi or public kanang kuano kanang, or example, van, kanang pang biyahe nga van. So nagamit ako siya as operating unit, and I have a certain use value sa iya or utility. So tuod ga-depreciate siya pero I'm earning from it. Okay? Next is the fair value. So this is the value which is usually determined by a disinterested third party in order to establish a price that is fair to both seller and buyer. Example, class, balik ko sa akong G-site nga example kaganina sa akong property. When I sell my property at say 3 million, and siguro ako siyang i-post sa marketplace, for example, and kung gina-site visit siya sa mga tao and they found nga murag taas overpriced ra makay 3 million or kanang dili siya fit sa kanang ang property gyud no ang value nga 3 million ba dili siya fit or mahal kaayo. So what I would do is I would go to a realty appraiser, so magpa-appraise ko. So when you say appraise, murag kanay pa-evaluate na ako sa isa ka organization, dili organization, what do you call that? Murag realty association ba? Sila ko ipa-evaluate sa ako ang property, and then after evaluation, mo din to yung fair value. So for example, upon evaluation, they found nga or they assessed nga around 1.5 million na dito ang property. So that's now the fair value, no? It's both fair to me and to the buyer, because what if in another opposite side po no nga, what if barato ra kay 3 million kay I don't know, siguro I didn't know any better, di ko bala mo set sa price, so I would seek help sa kini nga mga appraiser for them to assess, and maybe upon evaluation maka conclude silang around 4 million man din yung property. So di ba, it's again fair to both the seller and buyer, and emphasis on the disinterested third party. Wala sila paki, dili man sila ang mapalit, no? Sila lang mag-appraise, nasa kay bayaran sa ilaha. So I think when I so far sa ako na research na ay tayo gitawag nga Philippine Association of Realty Appraisers, so pwede ta mo tap sa ilaha if na kay gusto ipa-appraise nga property, kay sila ang accredited sa government, isa sa mga accredited sa government to appraise a property. Okay, so next we have the book value or the depreciated book value. So this is the worth of a property as shown on the accounting records of an enterprise. Usually kini siya class is mura siya og annual gyapon ni siya nga value nga ginakip sa kung na sila projection ba na certain property that they own. Kay we know, for example, ang car nimo is ga-depreciate siya over time, pila na lang di ang book value after a year, after 2 years, after 3 years, and so on. So that's now the value of your property at a certain time nga katong original nga cost minus the depreciation. So that's now the book value or the depreciated book value. We also have the salvage value or the resale value. This is the price that can be obtained from the sale of the property after it has been used. So balik ta sa car gyapon nga example. If I decided to sell my car after 15 years, what would be the salvage value or resale value? For example, nagkuan pa siya, naggana pa akong car. Mudagan pa gid siya, pero dili na gid siya like katong original niya nga kanang kanang dili na gid siya nga naka-smooth. Kaya syempre over 15 years na daghan na gid kay mga nadaot na dira somewhere gipampulihan nga mga piyesa sa imong makina, di ba? So but ga function gapon siya as a car. So that would be what would be the salvage value or resale value nga akong iset. Mo na siya ang iyang value. The scrap value is different from the salvage value because this is the property that would sell for if disposed as a junk. So example, akong car, ako siyang ibaligya, pero dili na siya functioning as a car. Siguro kay dili na mo siya mo-function sa iyahang pagkasakyanan, ako na siyang i-dispose as junk. So siguro ang certain parts akong ibaligya to different shops, for example. So that would be mas scrap value. In a sense, pareha ra sila because nasa intersection na kung magro na tag Venn diagram, nasa intersection but they're not exactly the same. Alright, that's for the different some types of values. Okay, what's the purpose of depreciation? First is to provide for recovery of capital which has been invested in physical property. So I think that the idea here is kung ga-depreciate man gud ang imuhang property or a certain asset nimo, at least na lang nakapakonswelo ba sa imuhang capital if you decide to sell that property, no? So at least na lang ma-recover imong capital. Or second one is katong cost sa imuhang services and products of producing products or services, no? So kanang operation maintenance nimo, at least mabawi naman lang siya in a certain way, no? If you compute for the depreciation nimo. Okay, so mas mag-make sense na when we discuss different depreciation methods. Okay, before we go to the depreciation methods, there are different types of depreciation. We have the normal depreciation under physical or functional. So sa physical, it's because of na-depreciate siya because na-lessen ng iyahang physical abilities, capabilities. For example, because of wear and tear, na-deteriorate siya physically, no? So that's one of the causes of the depreciation of a property. It's because of its physical nga inability ba. Next is the functional. So again, nagyapon sila intersection, common sa physical or functional, but the idea sa functional man good is, example, you bought a photocopier machine 10 years ago, and karon wag gyapon siya naguba, nag-function gyapon siya, but because of the different photocopier machines nga exist na karon nga mas high-tech na, mas adequate na siya, mas efficient na siya, so medyo na obsolete ang function sa imuhang photocopier. So naggana pa siya, wala pa siya dili siya kumbaga wala na lesson yung physical ability, but yung function is medyo daan na. So that's one of the reasons nga mo decrease ang value sa imuhang photocopier machine. And the last one is the depreciation due to changes in price levels. But this one class, since it's very unpredictable, dili kay siya gina-consider sa pag-analyze for depreciation methods or just the general idea of depreciation, kay dili man gud siya ma-predict. So dili kay siya lisod siya himuan og concept or walay pattern ba nga makita. Okay, so it's a factor, no, due to changes in price levels, but again dili kay siya gina-consider for analysis in engineering economics. Okay, so those are the types of depreciation. We go now to the physical and economic life. So for physical life, this is the length of time during which the property is capable of performing the function for which it was designed and manufactured. So think of katong previous example na ako nung photocopier. So kung kanusa siya taman class, hantod kanusa siya taman capable mo perform sa iyang function. Kung unsa siya pag-design ba, mo na yung physical life. For the economic life, this is the length of time during which the property may be operated at a profit. It could be that naayapon sila intersection, but pwede man good nga imong physical life is taas, no, longer kaysa sa imong economic life. Kay for example, after a while dili na nimo siya magamit, no, ma-operate at a certain profit. Katong photocopier for example nga tungod kay daghan na kaayog mga high-tech na, dili na nimo siya mapagkakitaan. So short ra yung economic life, pero yung physical life is longer pa kay maka-operate magyapon siya sa iyang certain function. Right? So as we progress in our lecture class, we'll be dealing with kanang useful life po siya, no? Gitagaan tag mga problems nga na useful life. So pwede kaya mo consider mo physical life, pwede economic life, but wala ka siya distinction sa tong mga example. But it's good to know that there's difference between the physical and the economic life. Okay? So ako lang na-emphasize kay usually sa mga problem kay useful life ang term pod nga yang ginagamit. Okay? So actually if you really think about it, when you say useful life, wala po siya economic life, no? May equate mo siya into economic life. Okay, so what's the requirement of a depreciation method? So first question is, na may requirement? Because in reality class, in our economy, dili man gud kita mag-set sa depreciation method. So kanang depreciation method ginagamit po na siya when we compute income tax, basta kanang sa government, and dili kita mo set ana as normal citizen of the Philippines. Na ana siya Na siya different methods ato ra gyud nang i-discuss. Pero nasa na siya requirement dili pod pwede mo pataka sa corporation o gamit og certain depreciation method kay sometimes na magay depreciation method nga to their advantage, no? So ginabalance ra gyapon na, no, and mo ni siya mga requirement, but ang pinaka last gdan is it should be accepted by BIR, Bureau of Internal Revenue, sa atong kanang mga tax nato. Okay, so dili man kita ang mag-compute, dili sa kita ang mag-set. So the question is nganong kailangan ta makabalo. I think it's good to know because though karon dili pa mo directly affected ana, I guess when you really go or when you really are immersed in the real life, trabaho na mo, example, mag-loan mo or magbaligya mong certain property in the future, it's really good to know kung unsa nga mga depreciation method ang ginagamit sa certain company, certain corporation, no, para dili sa bitaw ta naive. Okay, proceed ta sa atong depreciation methods. Okay, for depreciation methods class, we shall use the following symbols for the different methods that we'll be discussing, no. When you say L, kining big letter L, this pertains to the useful life of the property in years. So mo na akong gi-discuss kay ganina kining useful life or the economic life, no. Kano sa siya tama nimo magamit kanang maka-benefit ka sa iya ba maka profit ka sa iya. So we denote that as big letter L. And then we have C sub O, this is the original cost. Okay, so not the original cost. It's very useful na makabalo sa original cost sa property. And na mga problems class nga original cost sa original price sa upon purchase sa property. Naa sa mga problem nga appeal ang, for example, appeal ang installation or mga other expenses, no. So i-add po na nimo dito sa imong original cost. Okay? So anything nga cost nimo at kanang upon purchase nimo. So dili lang ang price, no, kung naay another given ha. So the idea is you add all the cost upon purchase. That's your original cost of the property. So we have C sub L. So this is the value of at the end of life or the scrap value. Tagaan po tani ang problem. So siya po ang gi-require, no, but the idea here is money mong cost na lang or money mong value na lang sa imong property at the end of the life. Say, mingon kag imong useful life of the property or an equipment that you purchase is 10 years. So what is now C sub 10 or the cost or the value after 10 years? Okay? We have the small letter D. This is the annual cost of depreciation. So naasad tay sa katong if you recall the normalized car depreciation sa first slide nato, natag example dito nga graph, no, nga nagkaubos ang iyang value sa imong car. So of course kung nagkaubos imong value, nasad kay certain value nga na minus from the original cost or from the cost sa imong previous year. So that is now your annual cost of depreciation. Usually na siya kuan class, pwede siya pwede siya constant value, pwede po siya nakadepende po siya sa method nimo. Okay, madiscuss gyapon na nato. We have C sub N here. This is the book value at the end of N years. So wala sa example nga 10 years nga useful life. For example, papangitaon ta mo unsay book value at the end of say 3 years. Okay? So mangita ka sa C sub 3 pod niya. So unsa man imong book value at the end of 3 years? Of course, that is your original cost minus the depreciation nimo nga na-accumulate nimo after 3 years. Okay? And then the D sub N is the depreciation up to age N years. Mao na ang imong depreciation nga nag-accumulate up to whatever magaling N nga gipangita dira. Okay? So this is our symbols nga ginagamit or notations. Okay, let's go first atong first depreciation method. We have the straight line method. Okay, so for the straight line method, it's very easy class, very straightforward, no, true to its word. This method assumes that the loss in value is directly proportional to the age of the property. So, direct lagi siya, very straight. So, kung nakay graph class, it looks something like this, no? Ana ragit siya. Okay? So, katong kaganina graph, di ba, medyo naka-curve man to siya gamay, no? But this one, straight line man to. Straight lagi siya. No, linear lagi na yung graph. So, ang imuhang depreciation ani class, this is your annual depreciation, remember? This is the original cost minus the salvage value or sorry, the book value at the end of life. So, i-minus nimo ang original o katong last gid niya nga value divided by L or the useful life nimo. That is your annual. Okay, maski dili ka mag-memorize ani nga formula class, it's very easy to recall. Okay, murag tinamban ra ka ba pila day ang annual. So, original ang first cost minus the final cost divided by your useful life. Okay, that's your annual. And then what is now the depreciation up to n years? So, katong imong annual, multiply na nimog n. Okay, so example, after 5 years, what would be the accumulated depreciation? So, of course, 5 times the annual ra. And then the book value after n years, original cost class minus the depreciation, pila man iyang nabawas from the original cost. Okay, so that is your book value. Sige, let's have an example. Okay, example, an electronic balance costs 90,000 pesos and has an estimated salvage value of 8,000 at the end of its 10 years lifetime. What would be the book value after 3 years? Using straight line method in solving for the depreciation. So, let's write first the given. Okay, so disclaimer ha, tsaka na siya kung pag lecture but the PDF medyo natarong na po ito gamay. Okay, so ilist lang nato class atong mga given o say required nato. So we have the original cost that is 90,000. Sa man the salvage value, so that is our C sub L. That is 8,000. And then we have 10 years lifetime, so meaning iyang useful life is 10 years. And then, we need the book value after 3 years class. So, this is now our N, ang 3 nato. Okay? So, we need the book value man after 3 years. So, we need C sub 3. Okay, let's solve using straight line method. So, we know, we need the annual cost of depreciation. So, that is the original cost minus the salvage value over the useful life. Okay, so that is 90,000 minus 8,000 over 10. That means we have an annual cost of depreciation ng 8,200. Okay, the idea here, class, so kining value ng 8,200, it means that this is now the value nga gakakuha. Okay, gakakuha sa imong original cost every year. So, meaning, this is a constant value nga 8,200. Straight line method raman siya, okay? Constant ra siya. So, what is now, in order to get the book value after 3 years, we need class the D sub 3 lang sa ano. Katong iyahang depreciation nga accumulated after 3 years. So, that is N times D raman. Okay? So, that is 3 times the annual depreciation. 1,200. Okay, we'll get 24,600. Alright. So, we need, we already have the the depreciation up to 3 years. So, we can get now the book value. So, ang book value na class is the original cost minusan nimo sa yang depreciation. So, that is 90,000 minus 24,600. Okay, the book value after 3 years, ay na rin tawag peso plus 65,400. Okay, of course, it won't make sense kung makakuha ka o greater than 90,000 class. You should get lesser, no, a lesser value. Actually, pwede na gani ka, dili kung tanaw lang nimo using straight line, no, makabala na din ka, dali ra ka siya mamanipulate. Right, example 2. So, we have here, an engineer bought an equipment for 500,000 pesos. He spent an additional amount of 30,000. Correct lang ko, this is 30,000 for installation and other expenses. So the salvage value is 10% of the first cost. If the book value at the end of 5 years will be 291,500 using straight line method of depreciation, compute the useful life of the equipment in years. Okay, so this is crucial, okay? We are given class an equipment that is 500,000 pesos worth, no? Say yung pag first buy. But we have an additional cost of 30,000 for installation and other expenses. So as I've mentioned before, dapat imo na i-include sa imong original cost tanan. Okay? Mamali na ka diri class. Mali na dyan imong solution tanan. Okay? So that is 500,000 plus 30,000. Okay? That is 530,000 imong first na cost or the original cost nimo. And then we have the salvage value, that is C sub L. Usually, interchange siya. Usually, ginagamit siya scrap value, salvage value. Basta, ang idea lang gid-ana class is, pila man yung value at the end siyang life. So, it could be salvage, it could be scrap value. Okay? So, that is C sub L. And that is 10% of the original cost daw. 10% of original cost. So, if we multiply 10% sa 530,000, that is 53,000. Alright, and then the next given is if the book value in 5 years. Okay, so we have here book value daw. So that is C sub 5. Okay? C sub 5 nimo class is 291,500. We need to compute the useful life. So karon class ang required sa twice ang L. Tagag L. Pila ka ang L ani. Alright, so let's solve. Okay, so pwede naman gyapon mag-solve. Pwede rin bisan unsa inyong unahon class. Masolve rin gyapon nimo. So para manad lang ta, usually itong ginaunang solve is the annual depreciation, di ba? That is original cost minus the salvage value all over useful life. Okay, so that is 500 original cost man. So 530,000 minus 53,000 over L nya. Wala pa tayo tagag L, so retain na nato ang variable L dira. So we have an annual depreciation cost of 477,000 over L. Carry na nato class. When unsa may mga okay, pause ta gamay, analyze na to gamay. In order to get the value of L, unsa man kaha ang need nato, we are given C5 manggod C sub 5. Okay? So that means ang D sub 5 nato class is N times D man no? Okay? And then our C sub 5 of course is the original cost minus D sub 5. From this formula, makakuha na ta og one equation, one unknown ani. Alright? So ato lang i-plug in diretso. Ang atong C sub 5 is 291,500 equals original cost, that is 530,000 minus D sub 5 nato is N times D. Our N here is 5 years. And then our D is katong 477,000. Okay, over L. Okay, so para di na kita madugay class, I'll leave it up to you pag manipulate. We'll get the L value here of 10 years. If I'm not mistaken. Okay, that is 10 years. Okay, so pwede lang mo mag-shift solve no sa at this level. So make sure that you know algebra naman lang ni dire. Alright, we'll move on to the next depreciation method. We have the sinking fund formula. So this is a little bit different from the straight line. Dili naman ni straight line good ang yang graph ani. Okay? Just to give you a clue, if you have here graph na mo nimong sinking, mo nimong straight line, imong sinking fund, something like this class. Okay, so makita nimo somehow mo nimo yung book value mo nimong time. Okay, so As time passes by, ang imuhang book value for both, of course, kay ga-decrease, kay ga-depreciate man na siya. But your sinking fund slightly higher than your straight line method. And natay comparison later sa itong mga problem class. If tinood ba yun nga, ang imong book value sa sinking fund is relatively higher than your straight line method. So let's check. But anyway, what is sinking fund formula? So this method class assumes that a sinking fund is established in which funds will accumulate for replacement. So the total depreciation that has taken place up to any given time is assumed to be equal to the accumulated amount in the sinking fund at any time. So if you recall, siguro sa inyong elementary, hopefully, namoy nga no, kami sa una magod nag-sinking fund magod me. So, ang ginabuhat kay gahatag mi og for example 5 pesos every day, ada ko ra pa kaya. Or 1 peso every day, no, and then at the around December kay amo rin siya igastos sa mga Christmas party. Okay? So, the idea of sinking fund is gahulog ka, ga-save up ka ba? But ang catch ni class is ga-save up ka that is equivalent sa imong annual depreciation, meaning imong gi-save nga value kay gi-match nimo dito. That's why your annual depreciation here is equal to your annual matching investment. Okay? So if you have here a cash flow nga naa kay annual depreciation value na D, ga-decrease man na. At some point in time, na kay D sub N. Okay? And that is your kumbaga, morning equivalent sa morning mong sinking fund value that is equivalent to your depreciation at the end of N years. Okay? And, unsa man atong ma-recall ani nga method? This is annuity. Okay? So, if you recall, kining D sub N man mo nitong future value, we can make use of this formula, no? Sa tong annuity, ordinary annuity na to. That your future worth is equivalent to your annuity multiplied by this factor. Okay? And if I hope you can recall, ang ato ang notation ani is F given A at I% for N period of time. Okay? So, if that's the case, kung kanida ang ato ang kuan class, ang ato ang magamit, that our D sub N is equal to our future worth, no? And our annuity here is this D, okay? Kuan man ka siya, equal mo kay mong annual. Then, we can conclude na ingani yung formula for D sub N na to. Okay, remember, sa atong straight line method, atong D sub N class is very simple, no? N, the number of years, times D. Simple. But in this case, instead of N, atong i-multiply niya is kani. Alright? So, murag, mo na yung future value nimo sa tanan nimong annual cost of depreciation. Alright? So, if you manipulate this further class, you will get from this idea, kini, dili ni ma-change class. Dili ni ma-change. Because it's always gonna be like this. Imong book value is always gonna be the difference sa imong original cost and your depreciation up to that N years. Okay? And from this formula, from these two formula, pwede na nimo i-manipulate such that when you want to get the depreciation at the end of your life, a useful life sa imong property, that is equal to D. Pulihan lang nimo class, instead of N, pulihan nimo L. Okay, kining N nimo diri mahimo na ng L. Okay, that should have the same notation here. Again, if you manipulate this further, you can get a value of expression sa imong annual cost equal siya sa imong original cost minus your salvage value. Pero instead of over L lang ka sa imong straight line, dili na siya over L. Kini na siya nga notation. F given A at I% for L periods of time. Okay? So, again ha, kini nga value is 1 plus I to the L minus 1 over I. Okay. Sige. let's have this problem. A broadcasting corporation purchased an equipment for 53,000 and paid 1,500 for freight and delivery charges to the job site. So, kanang freight mo shipping nimo ba? Or kanang, not sure. Yeah, shipping lagi. So, the equipment has a normal life of 10 years with a trade-in value of 5,000 against the purchase of a new equipment at the end of the life. First is we need to determine the annual depreciation cost by straight line method, and then we need to determine the annual depreciation cost by the sinking fund method. So we assume interest at 6.5% compounded annually. Alright, so same na gyapon class. We'll list the given here. So we are given the original cost would be ang price sa equipment, which is 53,000. Unya na pa mo kay freight and delivery charges to the site, that is 1.5, so na kay 1.5. A total of 54,500. Okay, we have the salvage value. Okay. Kasi what ani, dili siya salvage value, no? But ato gyapon siya considering nga si sub L trade-in value siya class. Meaning, siguro at the end of the useful life niya, gusto siya mo palit og new equipment, but instead of cash katong nga part, iya lang gi-trade in, and that is equivalent to 5,000 ang imong equipment, old equipment. So that is your kumbaga salvage value, salvage value ni mga 5,000. Alright, and then normal life is 10 years, so L is equal to 10. Okay, solution. We want to get A lang sa determine the annual depreciation cost by the straight line. So, when you say annual depreciation, katulang small d ni mo, no? That is D is equal to the original cost minus your salvage value over N. Remember that this is straight line method. So, we have 54,000 minus 5,000 over 10. So, using straight line method, atong ang annual cost de class is 4,950. Okay. And using sinking fund formula, of course, line natong formula na that is same lang numerator, original cost minus salvage value, but that is divided by F given A at I% for L periods of time. So, that is 54,000 minus 5,000 over ang gihatag nga interest sa to class is 6.5%, so 1 plus 6.5% raised to L nato, and that is 10 minus 1 over 6.5%. Okay, so we have an annual cost of depreciation that is equal to 3,668. Okay, so you can see class that the sinking fund method has dili gyud siya large difference, but significantly lower gyud imong depreciation cost sa imong sinking fund method. That is why sa graph nato sa sinking fund method versus straight line, mas taas siya, because kung mas gamay imong annual depreciation, of course mas dako imong book value, di ba? Okay, let's proceed to the next example. 100,000 chemical plant had an estimated life of 6 years and a projected scrap value of 10,000 pesos. So after 3 years of operation, an explosion made it to a total loss. How much money would have to be raised to put up a new plant costing 150,000 if a depreciation reserve have been maintained during its 3 years of operation by sinking fund method? So assume interest at 6% compounded annually. Okay, so medyo handful siya. So let's list the given. Okay, ning siya dire 100,000, yes. And na siya scrap value. So dali ra class, yung original cost is 100,000 lang, no? Wala na ilaing. Wait lang ha. Sorry. By the way, sa ako na yung PDF, naman ako siyang 110. I think originally it's 110,000. So, para dili na lang ako mag-usap-usap calculate class. Let's just assume na 110 siya. I think the original problem is 110 gid siguro. Excuses. So, 110,000 na lang, class. 110,000. And then we have the scrap value that is 10,000. And then we have L is equal to 6. No? The useful life or estimated life niya. Okay. So, dili sa tamang hilabot anang... Ay, wait lang. 3 years day of operation. So, ang ato ang need ani is ang N is equal to 3 na. So, that's our kuan. Those are our given. Okay. So, unsa na to ni siya? Unsa na itong need kuhaon? Atong need, class, is we need to find ningon mo siya diri that after 3 years of operation, an explosion made it to a total loss. Meaning, after 3 years, we should know pila the depreciation niya. Okay? Because the idea of a sinking fund is ang iyahang depreciation, class, na siya matching na investment or na siya matching amount nga gisave up ba tibali. So, meaning, after 3 years, pag explode niya, nagya pa siya nabili niya kwarta, which is equivalent sa imong depreciation. Munang, sa iyang new plant costing nga 150,000, dili gyud siya mo start from zero. Tungod kay na siya na save nga fund, pila na lang karon ang kailangan i-raise or pila na lang kulang. Okay? So that means we need to find the depreciation, accumulated depreciation after 3 years. Kay mao to ang equivalent nga funds nato available. Okay? So to solve that, we need to find the annual annual depreciation cost, which is CO minus CL over F given A, I percent, L periods of time, no? So that is 110,000 minus 10,000 over 1 plus pila ka percent? 6% raised to 6 minus 1 over 6%. Okay, we have an annual cost of depreciation that is equivalent to 14,336.26. Okay, maybe na ako yung mga na-wrong diri og solve, just let me know. And then after that, class, pwede na rin tayo makasolve sa atong D sub 3. Okay? Katong depreciation niya, total depreciation up to 3 years. So remember, that's D times imo ang F given A at 6%, okay, for 3 years. Okay, kaya atong N kay 3 man. Alright, so we have 14,336.26 multiplied by 1 plus 6% raised to 3 minus 1 over 6%. Okay, atong depreciation, class, after 3 years, total nato is 45,640.92. Okay, so this is also the amount, no, as I mentioned, balik-balik, this is the amount that is equal to the reserve nato or reserve sa company. That means, in order to know the amount nga gusto na to ma-raise, class, we should just subtract the 150,000 kay mo man itong need for the new plant costing. Okay, minusan nato siya sa atoang D sub 3 or sa atoang na-save nga funds, that is 45,640.92. So, the answer is 104,359.08. Okay? So, meaning, kanina lang dayon ang kulang nga kwarta. Okay? Alright, that's it for the sinking fund formula. Okay, next, we'll go to the declining balance method. So, this is sometimes called the constant percentage method or the Matheson formula. So, it is assumed that the annual cost of depreciation is fixed percentage of the salvage value at the beginning of the year. Okay, lahi po na siya taras kay kuan siya. Fixed percentage siya. So, Na siya'y gitawag nga rate of depreciation that is denoted by K. Okay, so it does not apply if the salvage value is 0. Makita na to later, nga nang dili pwede. Mag-derive man ta karon class of formula sa declining balance, no, based from the definition niya nga imuhang annual cost daw ko, no, is a fixed percentage of the salvage value at the beginning of the year. Okay, so mag-tabulate ta karon. Ingana itong i-tabulate. So we assume that sa year 1, no, ang book value na to at the beginning of the year, for year 1, of course, is equal sa original cost na to. Okay? And then the depreciation na to during that year, so we denote that as D sub 1. That is the percentage daw ko, no, class. And the rate of depreciation na to is katong K na to. Okay, we denote that as K. So, K times the original cost. Okay? So, that means, ang book value na to at the end of the year, class, is, ato siyang denote as C1. Of course, at the end of the year, kato yung original cost, makuha na siya sa depreciation. So, that is C sub O minus D sub 1. Okay? And that is C sub O, actually, minus K times C sub O. Pwede rin na to ako na lang nag-i-write. Boom, na-erase na. So, that is 1 C sub O. Okay, we have C sub 1 here. That is C sub O minus D1. Where D1 na to is K C sub O. So, ma-factor out na kung C sub O, class. That is 1 minus K. Right? Now, ang ato ang book value at the end of the year 1, class, most na atong value at the beginning of the second year. Right? So, that is C sub 1 gyapon. And that is equal to your C sub O 1 minus K. So, that means, imong D sub 2, imong depreciation during that year is K times C sub 1. Okay? So, atong book value at the end of the year, that is C sub 2, that is just equivalent to C sub 1 minus D sub 2. And that is C sub 1 minus, ato na lang expound diretso eh. That is C sub O 1 minus K. Okay, that is C sub 1. Minus, wait lang. Sakto ba niya? C sub 1. Yeah, minus K. Unya, C sub O okay. Minus, sorry, dili minus. 1 minus K na siya. Alright? So, pwede na to ma-factor out ang C sub O 1 minus K na sa to ma-factor out. Unya, ang mabilin sa sunod class is 1 minus K ra gyapon. So, that means, kung ato siyang sorry, di na kaigwa. I hope you get my point. So, kung ato siyang i-simplify pag further, that is just equivalent to C sub O 1 minus K squared. I hope you get the pattern. So, that means, ato lang at the end of second year, most na imong book value at the beginning of the third year. Okay, so that is C sub 2 na po na siya. So that is C sub O 1 minus K squared na nga the same ra na. So imong D sub 3 karon is K times C sub 2. Okay, so imong C sub 3 karon, you follow the pattern, that is just C sub O 1 minus K cube. Okay? So, maabot ta class sa nth year. Kung i-follow ginatong pattern, that is just equivalent to C sub O 1 minus K. Ang imuhang exponent ana is, for diba, third year, imuha is 2. For second year, that is 1. So that means imo na exponent is just n minus 1. Okay? And your d sub n, imong depreciation during that year is just equivalent to k multiplied by c sub n minus 1 na gyapon. Okay, that is 2 and that is 3. Alright, and then your book value would be c sub n equivalent to c sub o 1 minus k raised to raised to n. So that at the end of your so that when your n is equal to L, or abot na kasi mong useful life, your book value is just c sub o 1 minus k raised to L minus 1. And your depreciation during that year is d sub L, that is k times c sub L. So your c sub L here is equal to c sub o 1 minus k raised to n. Okay, so well, di man po ta mo ipa-derive, but nindot na nga exercise. So then sa PDF ako na nang gibutang ang class. So this is now your declining balance method. Ang imuhang kuan class, imong annual cost of depreciation is di ba kani? Giuna lang kay ganina sa table, giuna lang nato ang k, no. Actually that is c sub o 1 minus k raised to n minus 1 times k, kato imuhang rate of depreciation. And then for your c sub n, medyo kuan ni, medyo dagan na mo memorize on dili, but practice lang yun and dili na mo lisod mag-recall sa formula. Okay, so for the book value class at nth year, that is just your original cost. Kani, ato mo na itong na-derive, diba dito? C sub o 1 minus k raised to n. So, kani siya nga value, nga nung, nabot lagi na siya. Actually, gikan na siya dire. When your n is equal to L class, na kay C sub L is equal to C sub o 1 minus k L. Okay, what if lang ba, wala mo gitagaag k, gitagaan lang mo og original cost, gitagaan mo og salvage value, gitagaan mo og n and the useful life. Okay, wala mo gitagaag k, for example. Pwede mo mag-solve og k using aning formula, yes. Pero pwede sad mo diretso na ani. So, imuhang pagkuha na class is, if you manipulate that is CL over CO is 1 minus KL. In order to eliminate kini exponent nga L, you have to get the Lth root of your of your CL over CO. Diba? So that is 1 minus K. Now, 1 minus K here is equal to ani. Okay, so if we try to substitute, that is C sub O times Lth root of C sub L over C sub O raised to N. Okay, nga na inani man. Because, rule na to class is that your radix here is the denominator. Diba? If you have the exponent here, divide mo sa radix. Okay, so that is C sub O times CL over CO. Yan, naka-exponent nga N, divided man mo sa radix ng L. Okay, that is why we have this expression. But again, you can solve for K using this formula. Gikan na gyapon na siya class diha, na manipulate lang. No, that is 1 minus nth root of C sub N over CO, or 1 minus the L root of C sub L over CO. So, di na siya pwede mabali. Kung N na siya dira, dapat N. Kung L na, dapat L. Okay, so that's for the declining balance method ng formula. Let's go to a certain problem. So we have here, what do we have here? A certain type of machine loses 10% of its value every year. So, kani pa lang no kabalo na tanga, pwede ta magamit ang declining balance because the yung loss or yung depreciation is a fixed percentage. And that is the 10% of its value every year. Okay? So, that's our clue. So the machine cost 2,000 pesos originally. So create a schedule showing the yearly depreciation, total depreciation, and the book value at the end of each year for 5 years. In reality class, sa mga enterprise, mawin nilang ginabuhat. Gatable gina sila ang accounting. No, na sila projection ba, unsa nila book value sa isa ka property after a certain year. So yearly na siya, annual. Okay. Let's take a look at this table. Okay, ayang atong gusto is tama naman 5 years yung gusto makita, no? So dapat natay depreciation ni yearly, which is this one. And then gusto po siya makita sa total depreciation. So kani siya murag accumulated na to ba, kumbaga running total na to. And then iyahang book value. So natay book value dire at the end of each year. Okay, so 2,010%. That's all we have to know. So we have here the book value that is 2,000. Ito lang i-fill in the class. Depreciation niya, pila man yung depreciation after 1 year. That is the 10% of 2,000. It is 200. So meaning at the end of the year, yung total depreciation is just 200. What will be the book value at the end of the year? So na-depreciate siya, na-decrease siya 200. Meaning ang yan na lang book value is 1/8 na lang. Okay? So, ang book value niya class at the beginning, as I've said, discussed before, while ago, muna mo ang book value at the beginning of the next year. Okay, so 1/8 na lang. Now, ang depreciation niya is 10% of that value. So, the 10% is 180. And then, total depreciation niya is, of course, we add 200 and 180, that is 380. And then, book value na lang niya class is 1/8, minusan nimo sa iyahang, minusan nimo sa 180, dili sa total class. Okay, dili siya sa total. So, that is 1,620. Okay, so, mauna po niya siya. Balik rin nga po na pattern, that is 1,620. Mauna imuhang depreciation during the year. So, 10% ana, 1,620. And then, yung total depreciation is 542. Okay, plus na nandua. And then, the book value, 1,620 minus 162, that is 1,458. Yeah, 1,458 lagi, sorry. So, that natin 1,458 diri. 10% of this 145.8. Total depreciation now would be 687.8. And then the book value at the end is 1,312.2. Next, book value at the beginning is just the same sa end of the year. So, copy lang. And then, 10% of that is 131.22. Total is 819.12. And then 1,180.98. Okay, so if you can see class, ang depreciation niya, although it's fixed value, 10% of the book value at the beginning of the year, you can see na na-decrease siya. Over time, nagagamay yung depreciation. Because actually, idea sa ubang depreciation methods, example ng declining balance is that yung dagko nga depreciation is during the early years. And then later, sa mga later years, hindi yan, nagagamay na siya. Okay, because the idea pod is ang 10% mang pod good dito sa imuhang inyo nga book value dili sa imong original cost. So consequently ang imong yung depreciation ana would decrease pod. Okay? So actually ginagamit ng declining balance o usually pod ang double declining balance, which we'll discuss next ani is kanang mag-loan bitaw ka, especially kanin diri sa among cooperative sa USTP. Kung mag-loan ka, ginagamit lang nga depreciation method kay kaning declining balance. So wa po ka try og loan, but mao pod ang ilang feedback sa among mga kauban nga faculty. So in a way beneficial siya in the long run kay sa later ni mga years or sa later nga periods kay gamay naman lago ng depreciation. Although ang catch is katong dako nga depreciation is during sa mga early periods, no. So kung yearly siya, of course, during the early years dako iyang value sa depreciation. Yes, the idea mo class is dili man gud ta ganahan nga dako siya depreciation, di ba? Ganahan ta as small as possible para dako yung book value nga ma-retain. Okay, continue. Continue tabi. Second problem we have here. A machine costing 45,000 is estimated to have a salvage value of 4,350 when retired at the end of 6 years. Depreciation cost is computed using constant percentage of the declining book value. What is the annual rate of depreciation in percent? And what is the book value at the end of 3 years? Okay, so again, we'll write the given. We have the original cost, that is 45,000. We have the salvage value, that is 4,350. Medyo napagod ako, sorry class. We have the useful life, that is 6 years. And then, first is we need to find the K class and the annual rate of depreciation. And then we need to find the book value at the end of 3 years, that is C sub 3. Okay, we solve K. Sige, if you can recall from the previous slides, we have K that is equal to 1 minus. Now, pwede ta mag-nth root, pwede po ta mag-lth root. And we are given class, duha mo guna siya, no? Unsa man ang naate given, mo gud given nga n. Naate given nga n. That is 3 years, pero wala man gud tay C sub n. Okay? Pero kini, equal man gyapon siya ani, kini la tong gamiton because we are given the L and we are given the C sub n and C sub O. Okay? So it's more convenient. Okay, so that is the Lth root of CL over CO. So that is 1 minus the 6th root of 4,350 divided by 45,000. So atong K day class is 0.3225. So in percentage, that is 32.25%. Okay, so this is now our rate of depreciation. Okay, class, no kay 32%. Next, we need to find C sub 3. Okay, so sa itong formula natin, C sub n class, that is equal to C sub O times 1 minus K raised to n. That is just C sub 3. Given naman tanan, no? So nakakuha na po tag K, so it's easier. We have the original cost, 45,000 times 1 minus 0.3225 raised to 3. Okay, so we have book value at the end of 3 years, that is 13,993.95. Okay, so yeah, that's it for the declining balance. Okay, let's go to the double declining balance. This is the fourth depreciation method class. So this is similar to the declining balance method, except that the rate of depreciation K class is replaced by 2 over L, or 2 over the useful life. Okay. So, when DDB method is used, na siya note the salvage value should not be subtracted from the first cost when calculating the depreciation charge. Okay, so I don't think I don't think inganin po na itong interpretation because cut. Ibalik-balik sa double declining method. Okay, the next method, the fourth method is the double declining method. We have, this is similar to the declining method class, except that your K is replaced by 2 over L, no? So, dili na siya, wala na tagitagano a certain percentage. Diretso na ta. If you have a useful life that is equal to 10, diretso na ang imuhang rate of depreciation is 2 over 10. Okay? That's for the double declining balance. And Depreciation note 3, when DDB method is used, the salvage value should not be subtracted from the first cost when calculating the depreciation charge. Okay, so I don't think na po example ani nga magamit nato ni or dili nato magamit ni nga definition. So it's just good to take note of this. Okay, we have this formula. So same lang gyud siya class sa ato ang declining balance method. Kaya atong declining, if you recall, that is C sub O1 minus K no N minus 1 times K. So, basta pulihan na ginani mong K og 2 over L. Marugin na siya. Okay? Everything else, the same na dayon. Okay, so wala na tapoy. Wala na po tayo katong K na to. Siyempre, atong nausab ato kay. Ang K na to kay nga ni man iyang formula. Di na po siya nga na ka-complicated because instead of that, atong K naman kay 2 over L. Okay? So, kana siya actually, pwede rin ganin na isa ang notation lang ano. If that's L, L po na, ay okay, L man gina 2 over L mina. I mean, kini po ng N. Kung N na, N po na. Okay? Okay, let's have an example here. Determine the rate of depreciation, the total depreciation up to the end of the 8th year, and the book value at the end of 8 years. For an asset that costs 15,000 new and has an estimated scrap value of 2,000 at the end of 10 years by the declining scrap value and the double declining balance method. Alright, so siguro kanilang it's to compare lang the declining of the double declining. Sige, let's list the given. We have the original cost 15,000. Okay. We have the natay scrap value there. Sorry, that is 2,000. The L 10 years. We have N is equal to 8. Interested this after 8 year. And then okay, I think wala nila yung given, no? We need to find K for the declining. We need to find total depreciation, okay? The total depreciation class would be D sub 8. Okay, and then the book value after 8 years is C sub 8. Okay, so solution using the double declining balance method class, itong first class our K is 1 minus L root of CL over CO. That is 1 minus 10 square root of 2,000 over 15,000. That is 0.1825. So that is 18.25%. Right. And then we have the C sub N. I recall you upon a formula class that is C sub O1 minus K raised to N. So we have 15,000. We need C sub 8 man. Times 1 minus 0.1825 raised to 8. Okay, so our book value after 8 years is 2,992. Total depreciation up to the end of a year would be D sub 8. Okay, that is the original cost minus the book value put. So, bali-bali lagyan po na. Original cost minus depreciation, that is the book value. Original cost minus the book value, that is the depreciation. So, that is C sub 8. So, original cost minus 2,992. So, pila din total depreciation? That is 12,008. Okay, in peso. Okay, next. For the double declining class, double declining balance method, our rate of depreciation, dili naman gud siya K, no? Gi-replace na siya og 2 over L. Okay, so that is, atong L is 10. So that is 0.2 or 20%. So, bigger siya than the declining balance na, which is 18% lang. Okay, we want to get the C sub n or the C sub 8. That is, i-reason lang ko nibi. C sub n, parang formula niya makita. That is C sub O, 1 minus 2 over L raised to n. Okay, so that is C sub 8 is equal to 15,000 times 1 minus 0.2 raised to 8. So, our book value after 8 years is 2,517. Okay, and then our depreciation class, same na gyapon, that is the original cost minus the book value. That is D sub 8 is equal to C sub O minus C sub 8. 15,000 minus katong 2,517. That is 12,483 pesos. Okay, so, well, makita man gid mo nga bigger siya sa iyahang, comparison lang ba? It's because your rate of depreciation sa double declining is 20%. Meaning, mas paspas, mas dako yung depreciation. So, kung mas dako yung depreciation, mas gamay ang iyahang book value. So, that is 2.5 lang, isa kay 2.9. Okay? Well, it's not all the time nga mas dako gyud ang declining, no? Depende lang yapon sa mga given values. Yeah. Okay, so let's proceed. We'll take a pause. Yan, so tubig. Okay, let's proceed to the sum of the year's digits or SYD method. So this one is used to accelerate the recognition of depreciation. So doing so means that most of the depreciation associated with an asset is recognized in the first few years of its useful life. And if you notice, inanaragya po ang IDR concept sa itong declining o double declining class, no? But siguro for the sum of the year's digits, mas evident siya because later makita siguro nato sa itong ubang problems that the majority sa iyahang dagko nga charge or depreciation charge is during the first few years. And again, for the remaining years, ginagmay na lang dayon. And evident yun na siya because makita nato nga sa ato ang formula later. Ngano ingana. Okay, so we have the notation nga D sub n. Same lang gyapon, no? Small d sub n. Pero this is a same ang gyapon depreciation charge during the nth year. However, kinay naka-unique siya because yung d sub n is your depreciation factor, which is this one. This is your reverse digit over the sum of digits. So, sum ni digit, later yung kabulatan na. Multiplied by the total depreciation, which is your original cost minus your salvage value. Okay? So, sa pag sa sum of the digits, pwede magtinamban, plus ni mo tanan, tapos i-reverse lang din mo ang mga digit. But, para mas makita, para mas dali ninyo, what if daghan na kayong digits, that is just equal to L multiplied by quantity L plus 1 over 2. So, then in digit, okay? Ingani siya class. Say, for example, you have a property whose life is 5 years. Okay? So, ang imong maglista kasi mong year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, this is your digit. This is considered as your digits. And then, you total your digits. So, isam gid mo siya tanan. So, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. That is 15. Right? And then, after listing the year, imo na siya i-reverse order. So, 1 to 5, ang isa, 5 to 1. And then, imuhang depreciation factor class would be something like this. Katong last nimo, tungod kina-reverse naman siya, no, naman rin ang 5 na. Muna na imong depreciation factor. 5, the reverse digit. Okay, the reverse digit over the sum. So, the reverse digit nimo over the sum, over 15. That is your depreciation factor in year 1. So, as you can see, tako jud kayo siya og depreciation factor, no? Naraw 5, 4, 3. So, muna sa imuhang later na diyan. So, kung magkadako ang imuhang useful life class, magkagamay gid pud noon siya og depreciation factor dito. Okay? Magkadako man pud yang sum of the digits. Alright? So, mo na yung giingon nga first few years ni mo makita ang dako kayo nga depreciation factor. So, opposed to rin, syempre, ang pinakalas mo na ng 1 over the sum. And then, after getting the depreciation factor class, i-times na rin mo siya. Tanan na din CO minus CL. Okay? So, kato kong giingon ganina, kung daghan na kay kag digit, sa pala, kag 20 years, alangan na ilista ni mo tanan, tas i-manual ni mo tanan og add, diba? So, syempre, pwede na din mo siya inganion ang sum of digits. Kaso, ang reverse lang po, pwede naman yapon mo banaon. Naroon yapon yung formula na. Let's have an example. Okay, example. A consortium of international telecommunication companies contracted for the purchase and installation of a fiber optic cable linking two major cities at a total cost of $960 million. If the cable shall be depreciated over a period of 15 years, with zero salvage value, what is the depreciation charge during the 8th year using the sum of the years digits method? Okay, so list lang gyapon ta class. List atong given. Original cost, that is 960 million. So that is 960 million. And then we have the salvage value. Ngayon siya with zero salvage value. So, zero na. We have the L. That is 15 years. And then we need to know, class, the depreciation charge. Okay, during the 8th year. So, don't mistake this with the big D sub 8. So, this is the ang depreciation charge mo siya during that year. So, that is just a small d, no? Sub 8. Okay. So, solution is we need to find first the sum of digits. That is L plus 1 over 2. So, that is 15. 15 plus 1 over 2. That is 120. Alright, so if you have 15 class, 1 to 15, the reverse digit of 8th year class would be, actually, kung reverse ni mo, 8 ramagod na, so matungan na siya. Pwede na ma-list, pwede mag-list, mag-manual matag-list diri, pero pwede sa ninyo tagaan og formula. Kamalay ka ma-formula, bright bitaw mo. Bitaw, pwede ka mag-list diri, wala man po siguro itag 100 years, no? So diri na po kayo mamahago. Pero actually, kung huna na ulit yun ninyo, 15, 1 to 15, kung imong ibaylo, ang 8 manggod nimo, 8 lang gihapon. Okay, so pwede rin nyo i-try o sulat nila. But the reverse digit of 8 years, 8 lang gihapon. Just like, ano ba? Imong 3 lang gihapon. Matungan man siya. So, now, the D sub N anak class would be the reverse, no, digit over the sum times CO minus CL. So, that is D sub 8. Wala, hindi na siya magi. Is equal to the reverse, that is 8 over 120. Oy, 120. Sorry 960 din. 960. Save sa akong class PDF. Okay, correct na lang ko. Pa-correct na lang ko sayop na nila siya 15 sa kung PDF 120 but the final answer is the same. Correct ya po na $64 million. Okay, we're down to the last method finally. We have the service output method. So po na siya. So this method assumes that the total depreciation that has taken place is directly proportional to the quantity of the output of the property up to that time. So this method has an advantage of taking the unit cost of depreciation constant and giving low depreciation expense during low periods of low production. So kini siya medyo lahi class from the other five, no, because na siya gi-introduce diri nga new notations. Lahi magud siya, dili mo siya pare sa uban no nga proportional lang sa kanang nala siya lahi nga rate of depreciation, lahi lang yung pagka-plaster sa mga formula, but this one is nagdepend magud siya sa output. So pinakanindot nga example ani kanang printer for example or photocopier kay depende ba na sa output and naa siya certain nga naa siya life no nga dili siya ingon nga number of years gyud pero number of unsa na prints nga yang mabuhat ba nalimot ko sa iyang proper term ana I'm sure one of the groups diri sa inyo ha kay kinsa mo tong nag-printer gani nga project silang dasera. So ang imuhang kibali imuhang depreciation tungod kay nagdepend ang imuhang output sa tungod kay nagdepend ang imuhang depreciation sa quantity of output nimo, dili pod siya ingon nga ka predictable pod ang imuhang depreciation kay it could mean man nga mura di siya constant ba dili pa rin sa itong previous 5 methods. Yung gi-emphasize dito nga low imong depreciation expense during low periods of production. Okay, so kung high po imong depreciation pag daghan na po kay kag output nga nabuhat kay it means nga kung magkadaghan kag output magkaduol man ka sa imuhang kumbaga useful life nimo ba sa imuhang machine or sa equipment nimo. Kay output based man siya or output dependent man siya. Okay? So we have this new notation nga T nimo total units of output up to the end of life. And then you have the Q of N, the total number of units of output during the nth year. Okay? So pwede ni siya nga gamay ra kay karon, pwede pagka next year kay daghan kayo. So depende siya. And the depreciation per unit of output analysis is given by your original cost minus the salvage value over T, which is the total units nga pwede niya ma-produce. And then, ang imuhang D sub N, kini kay per unit of output. Kini din siya is 8 times din mo sa imong total number of units of output during that nth year. So, we have, isa ra akong example. Very easy maguna. So, we have a television company purchased machinery for 100,000 pesos on July 1, 1979. It is estimated that it will have a useful life of 10 years, scrap value 4,000, production of 400,000 units. So the machinery produces 36,000 units in 1979, 44,000 units in 1980. Compute the depreciation for 1980 using service output method. Okay, so the given are, we have the original cost class that is 100,000, and then what else? We have the scrap value 4,000. We have the useful life of 10 years. We have T. Hindi nga siya the reproduction of 400,000 units. Meaning, mo niya maximum nga units nga ma-produce, no? So, that is 400,000. And then, we are interested sa iyang depreciation for 1980. Okay? So, that means, need taog katong Q. Pila ang iyahang output during 1980. So, that is Q of 1980. That is, butang na akong year ha. Kay, pwede mo ito maingon nga year 1 ang 1979, pero July 1 mo siya nag-start. Okay, so mahulog nga mura year 2 ang 1980. Dili, sorry. mabungkig siya, sorry. So, dapat mag-notation ng tawag year para mas klaro. So, 1980, that is 44,000. So, we need the depreciation class. So, pila day yung depreciation during 1980. Okay? So, it's very easy. That is just equivalent to 1918, you know. Your CO minus CL over the total multiplied by your Q. Okay? During 1980. So, that is 100,000 minus 4,000 over 400,000, which is the total multiplied by 44,000 katong output nga nabuhat nimo during 1980. So, yung depreciation ana would be 10,560. I think it would be nice to compute the depreciation during 1979 para mas ma-compare nimo, kay mas kuan gid siya. Mas dako gid yung depreciation during 1980 kay mas daghan man gud siya og units nga na-produce. Okay, so I think that would be the end of discussion for depreciation. So thank you very much for listening and study well because we're gonna have a quiz next week.